Hey guys, it's Etty and I'm back with another video for you, and in today's video I'm going to be making some really cool coasters with some dollar store planks over here. So I really wanted to find a way to take some pictures and transfer them onto these wooden planks for like Polaroid style coasters, which I thought would be really nice. So I did some research on a way to actually get the image like transferred onto the wood instead of like, you know, cutting it out and gluing it to the wood, because I feel like that wouldn't last as long. I did find out that I could use acetone to actually transfer photos from a laser printer onto the piece of wood. Only thing is the picture is going to be black and white because my laser printer only thing is the picture is going to be black and white because my laser printer is only black and white. But I think it kind of adds to like the vibe of the coasters, so not mad about that. Okay, so I have these pre-cut craft squares. Honestly, I have no idea what they're actually used for, but I thought they would be really good for this. They're like a little bit bigger than the normal size of a coaster. Let me get a coaster. Yeah, see, so they're a little bit bigger than the regular coaster size. Like, you know, maybe like half an inch. It's not too bad, so I think this will be cute, and it gives a nice amount of space for the picture. And we'll call them luxurious coasters. So it's all about marketing. It comes with 5 pieces inside, but I'm only going to make a set of 4 coasters. So that actually gives me a little bit of leeway to kind of find which ones are the best ones, because honestly, I mean, these are from the dollar store. Sometimes they're not the greatest. So this one is going to be my reject. The rest of them, I think, this one's not the best either, but it's passable. Yeah, the rest of them I think are okay. So this one is probably the worst one out of the bunch. So I'm gonna use this as my tester just to make sure that everything works. And if it works, then I'm going to do the same thing on the 4 other coasters. And this is gonna be a gift for my mom. So I printed out some pictures with my mom and me and my siblings, which I think she's really gonna like. So I think the trick with this method is that you have to use a laser printer. I don't have an inkjet printer, so I really don't know how it would work or if it would work on that. What I did is I just measured this square out, and I want it to really look like more of a Polaroid. So because of that, I basically just made the picture size a little bit smaller. So I just copied the pictures onto Microsoft Word and then made a box that is the exact size that I want the picture to be, and then made sure that each picture fit in that box before I printed it. And one more thing you want to do before you print it, I mean, you could do, I just find it will probably turn out nicer this way, is I reversed the pictures, or I mirror imaged the pictures so that when you actually transfer them onto the paper, it's going to be the right side. All right, so once I've got my pictures all set, I'm just going to cut them out on this Cricut. I think this is the original Cricut. I got this years and years ago. I didn't even realize it was a Cricut. So I'm just going to use these to cut up my photos. Okay, so now I'm actually going to test this out to see if the transferring works. What I need is my acetone, obviously. So I'm going to grab this guy, grab my picture, and then I just have an old membership card over here, so I'm going to use that and wrap it in a paper towel in order to apply the acetone. Make sure not to use a card that you need, because yeah, the magnetic field over here, totally done for. So don't go using your credit card for that. I've got a protective covering on my table, and I also have like plastic underneath this in case anything seeps through, because I have a wooden table and I really don't want this acetone going on it. I've got my picture here. I'm gonna take that, I'm gonna flip it upside down, and then I'm gonna place it not exactly in the center, because I want it to look like a Polaroid. So I want it to be slightly off-centered, and try and make sure that everything is straight and even. You could even use a piece of tape to just hold it together. I'm going to take my card wrapped in a towel here, dip it in the acetone, and I'm just going to wipe that across. I don't want it to be too heavy, because I don't want it to pool, so I'm going to let it dry. And then maybe use the other side to rub it in. You could see it's drying pretty quickly, honestly. I'm gonna just take the card and rub every direction until it's dry. Make sure to keep your windows open because yeah, this stuff smells pretty strong. Wear a mask if you need to. Clearly, this isn't bad for a first attempt. I think it looks pretty good. I definitely learned a few things along the way. Number one, if you're expecting the picture on the coaster to be super crisp, this is not the project for you. This is like, you know, more of a abstract looking picture, which I think still came out really nice. You can see that I did go a bit heavy on the acetone in certain areas and it kind of pulled a little bit and looked a little bit muddy. So I'm gonna try and, you know, correct that for the next one. And the other thing that really made a big difference, and this is something to really make sure to keep in mind when you're doing this project, is when you're printing out your pictures, make sure to print your pictures in grayscale and turn the contrast up. Like, even if you think the picture looks really dark on screen or when it's printed, that's what's good for transferring it onto the wood. It needs to be dark. So for example, something like this, which is really nice printed, would actually not look as good as something like this. So you see the difference there. You know, this one obviously looks better when we're looking at it like on paper, but for the coasters you need to have the contrast turned up quite high. This would transfer so much better because there's so much dark and light contrast than this one. And just to show you what that looks like on the actual coaster, so you see this is the first light option. This is that darker option. This one looks much better. So I'm happy I figured that out. It took me a while. I couldn't figure out why this wasn't working properly because my first one worked. And then, you know, I did that one and I was like, oh, this is not gonna be good. Honestly, I think that even if it's not perfect, it's still gonna come out super cute. Like this, you know, with a nice white border, and I think the edges over here I'm gonna do in gold foil. I think that will look really cute already, but you know, always room for improvement. So now I'm going to continue on. The next thing I want to do is sort of whitewash around this, and then I'm going to do some gold edges with some gold foil. So I'm going to take my white paint over here, I'm going to mix it with some water, and then I'm just going to use it to paint a white border around these photos. I also think it would be a really nice touch if the edges of these coasters were gold. So I'm going to go ahead and use some gold foil and apply it with some glue to the edges of these coasters. The easiest way that I found to do this was to just apply like one line of glue, dip the coaster in it, and then press the coaster with the glue onto the gold foil. I love the look of the gold foil. It's so much nicer than any gold paint that I've tried. But sometimes when I'm working with it, I'm kind of asking myself like, oh, why did I get myself into this again? It's so messy. There's so many little pieces. I don't think I'm using it right. But at the end of the day, it turned out really nice. And then once that's done, you'll definitely have a lot of extra gold foil around the edges, but it's super easy to just take an X-Acto knife and cut out all of that extra gold foil once it's dry. I just used a paintbrush and dusted off any remaining parts from the edges of the coasters. Now that we've got the pictures transposed and the gold foil on, I want to make sure that everything stays in place and doesn't get dirty. So I'm going to use some clear acrylic spray paint to just seal these off. I normally do like 2 coats of clear acrylic spray paint, but for this project I did about 4 because if it's going to be used as a coaster, I want to make sure that, you know, the picture is not going to get ruined. So I just put a couple extra layers and I think that's going to keep it a little bit better. The very last thing I did was just put on these little cork stickers on the back of the coasters so that when they're on a coffee table, they're not going to budge and they're going to be nice and even.